Okay, next one is Kelvin Leith. Loy, sir, can you make a video on how reading books has helped you in different stages of your life? Okay, see, reading is educating your mind and learning. Okay, that's the default premise. But now the question is, why are you reading? Are you reading to show off? Are you reading to know more than others? Are you reading for your own growth? Are you reading for self-improvement? In fact, one of the biggest things that people do is reading for the illusion of improvement. Pay attention, what I said. Reading for the illusion of improvement. There are many people who read books just to look and sound and feel that they are educated. In fact, in my group, I have these 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds in one of my junior groups. They will talk about Yuval Noah Harris Yaris, or whatever his name is. You know, he wrote the book on Homo sapiens, and they will speak to you about cognitive dissonance and psychology and psychoanalysis and Carl Jung's methods and all sophisticated stuff they'll talk to you. In fact, they'll even talk to you about cryptocurrency and exchange and wallet and this and that. But then if you ask them, what are you doing about your career and your life? What is your profile? I mean, they're staying with your mom and dad, and mom and dad is taking care of them. So does it amount to anything? Is it any use? Yeah, okay, fine, you're reading books, but you're sounding intelligent and all these things, but where it matters, you're a zero. So the point I'm trying to make is, I'm sharing with you my own faults that I've done. I used to read so many books, man. I used to read, you know, they say, no, reading one book a day. I used to literally push myself, and not speed reading, actual reading. I would read like crazy, spend 8 hours a day reading books. Fuck, it was craziness. And I remember when starting my career, I wanted to be the most well-read and smartest and listen to, those days no podcast was there. So MP3s and watch YouTube videos and DVDs, and end of the day, yes, it gave me a lot of knowledge, but knowledge I could not use. So in a way it is good if you read. It expands your mind and horizon, but it's not going to help you in anything much unless you apply what you read, and what you read is useful to you. Otherwise, it's like reading the Wikipedia every day. Fine, it'll make you a person well read, but your financial status will not improve, your personal life will not improve, your professional life will not improve. You'll just be like a nerd who knows so much. Like, you know, these rank holders in the school or colleges. Oh, high marks and everything. But that's where it stops. Today I read very less. Or even if I do read or listen to a podcast or YouTube video or something, it is related to what I'm doing. Because end of the day, for me at least, at this point of my life, money does the talking, not being the most knowledgeable, smartest guy and all that. And my agenda for reading books is obviously because nobody was there to guide me. So it did help me. It did help me a lot to gain perspective, know about positive thinking, know about believing in yourself, that there were people successful, that just because I was not a rank holder, that didn't mean I was useless. I went through a lot of challenges in my life. It made me a better person, but at some point I started to use it as a reason to believe that I was overly smart, overly intelligent, better than others, better than even a PhD, which was wrong. So remember, it doesn't matter even if you read 10,000 books. What matters is, even if you read 1 or 2 books and you're able to apply what you read and it was able to change your life, that is the essence of the whole thing. So instead of reading 10,000 books, read few books, amazing books, but books that will really change your life and make you a better individual. And yes, like I always say, knowledge is not power, application of knowledge is power. Okay, so I hope this helped you. And by the way, you can just Google search Ploy Macedo book review on YouTube. You'll get some of my olden book reviews, the stuff that I used to do before. Next one, the gym hero. Please, Loy, tell us much about your gym experience in Dubai, like why, when, and how you started, and much more. Okay, what I'll do is I'll make this as a separate video and I'll share with you, because there are plenty of stories to share, funny stuff, crazy stuff. This can be a separate video in itself, and the reason why I read your question is to acknowledge that yes, I have read your question, but I'll jot down my points because this in itself will be a very interesting topic. There are so many things to speak about. I'll make it, maybe there'll be 2-3 videos. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Next one, Arman Molly. You know, like in Spy Who Shagged Me, Mole, you know, so funny. Okay, Arman Moldina. My question is how to build social confidence. That is, how not to be shy and awkward. See, any skill in life comes through experience. The more you have experience, the better you become. So if you want to develop to be a better individual, gain more experience. See, for example, skating. When you tried skating the first time, you're not successful, right? Let's say you're playing a PC game. The first time you played that character, or you didn't develop the dexterity to handle the controls, right? Even if you try driving, even if you try whatever, okay, dancing, all of it requires practice. So even with these skills, no? Sorry, let me hold the camera. Even with these skills that you're talking of, being socially awkward and all that, you need experience. So now the question is, how can you get experience? Simple. Hang around with people, go with groups. You don't have to talk first. First, observe, look at others, mentally take down notes. When you come home, write down what has happened, review them, speak to people who are elder than you, take guidance from them. And this in turn becomes a process as you observe others, see what they're talking, learn how they're talking. And eventually, you know, at some point, you also take baby steps of talking and interacting. And that is how you'll become better. Remember, for me also, I was socially awkward is an understatement. I'll make a separate video on the complete goof ups I used to do, man. Sheesh. I really didn't know what to say, how to say, where to say. Sometimes I used to say stupid stuff here. So it took me a process of learning and becoming better. Okay. So in the same way, this is a skill that has to be sharpened over the period of time. Okay, so like I said, always better to do something than nothing. And reading theory is not going to work. Be there where the action is. Be with people. Eventually you will learn. And I'll make a separate video on this, totally different one, so stay tuned for it. Okay, next one. Okay, Khalid Ali. Khalid Ali's question is, do you believe a marriage should be based on love, or is it more of a project of two people work to achieve being successful? Many of my elder family members and elders think that it is a second way. Do you agree, disagree? See, love, no? Love as a feeling, as an emotion. You know, you must have heard people say, oh, I fell in love. People fall in love. Then afterwards they say, oh, I'm no longer in love with this person. So love is a very subjective term and subjective experience. And it changes over the period of time. Just as you might love something now, love a pizza, love a cartoon, love a movie, love a particular brand, over the few years, you'll grow not to love it. So in the same way, even human beings, even people, like I'm sure your friends, who are your best friends, have changed over the period of time, right? Once upon a time, you used to hang around with them and you don't. So love is a fluctuating emotion that changes over time. So now the question is, should you marry only for love? Absolutely no. But the element of love should be there. In my case, I can tell you my example. I chose, pay attention, huh? I chose to fall in love. And what do I mean by that? I chose means I Love is, for me at least, I define it as actions speak louder than words. The sacrifices that you make, not just the romantic stuff, not just the sex and romance and the delicious stuff as they call it. The ugly stuff, like I work hard for my family. I save money, I give it for my wife and children. Sometimes I want to get angry, but I control. Many times, there are times where my baby is sick, my wife doesn't sleep the whole day, she's taking care of the baby. These untold sacrifices. See, I like a house clean. My baby destroys it. She has drawn on the wall and she has made a mess. So, for us to be patient about it, learn and grow, take care, do all these things, a lot. So I would say it's a combination of both. The element should be there, others you cannot. More than love, not only that, the attraction, the dream, the desire to want to be with the person. And finally, the most important bit is the responsibility and work. If you're not prepared to slog it out day in and day out, it's not worth it. Because like they say, when you have a pet, when you have a puppy dog, it's so cute. But once you keep it in the house, it'll shit everywhere, piss everywhere, make so much of noise, makes a big mess, eats your wires, might bite your sofa, tear your shoes. And when you have a pet, if it gets injured, you might have to spend $1,000, $2,000 US dollars just to give it an operation. My dog, where I had in Dubai, it fell down and broke its paw. I paid almost $3,000 just to get an operation. Before I used to laugh when people used to spend money for surgery. I ended up spending for my own dog because who take care? Others, they'd have to amputate that leg. So remember, love is a combination of all this. Okay.